Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Mass Effect. In the last episode, we investigated the attack on Freedom's Progress and learnt that the Collectors seem to be behind it. They're an enigmatic people about whom not much is known except they live beyond the inaccessible Omega-4 relay. Our job is to learn more about them, but at this stage, there's no more immediate information available, so our job is to build a team from the best and brightest the galaxy has to offer. This episode, however, that is what we won't be doing. Interesting way of constructing a sentence, but yes, that is what we aren't doing. I'm going to be talking to a few more people on the Normandy, and then we're going to go and do a side quest. We're going to investigate the wreck of the former Normandy, the Normandy SR-1. This is the SR-2. SR standing for Stealth and Reconnaissance, I believe. The original one was the SSV Normandy, SR-1. SSV being Systems something vessel? Yes, it doesn't actually stand for something. I don't know. Because it was a Alliance, so like an Earth-human military vessel. This is a Cerberus one, so it's technically speaking private. But speaking of the old Normandy, here's a face we recognise.
Commander Shepard. I watched the Normandy crumble with you on board. It's good to see you alive.
I'm shocked. You're serving on a Cerberus vessel now?
Surprising. Even to me. Yet, here I am. The kind of trauma you endured would have changed most people. But not you, I see. Welcome back, Shepard.
I just checked it up, by the way. It is, SSV stands for Systems Alliance Space Vessel. Systems Alliance is only one A in that acronym for some reason.
Do you have everything you need?
I believe so. This medical bay seems very much like the sick bay on the original Normandy. Only thing missing are my private reserves. I even had a bottle of Ceres Ice brandy that I was saving for a special occasion.
I'll keep an eye out for a replacement bottle.
Oh, you needn't. It's expensive, and we have much larger concerns ahead.
You're not the Cerberus type, Doctor.
I don't work for Cerberus. I work for you. On a mission that may be crucial to the survival of the human race. I have faith that your dealings with Cerberus will be ethical. I trust you, Commander.
I'll see you later, Doctor.
Commander.
So, two of the important things happened there. Number one, we got a side quest, which means we get a little visualizer at the bottom, which is to find some Cerise Ice brandy, which sounds really nice, for Dr. Chakwas. Secondly was, I really like her outlook on things there, where she's basically like, I don't trust Cerberus, I'm not doing this for Cerberus, but I trust you, Commander. And that's really interesting, because when you see people like Joker very much goes for Cerberus because no one else was investigating any of the kind of Reaper stuff. Dr. Chakwas has clearly joined this crew because of Shepard, personally. And that's kind of like really interesting. It's kind of good to see that not all your old squad members have just, or like old teammates have just immediately jumped ship to Cerberus, whatever. Dr. Chakwas just wants to be on whatever ship you're on, which I think is makes her a very interesting character. And we will kind of see more of her as we go along than we did in Mass Effect 1. Anyway, here is Miranda has her own little kind of like office, bedroom kind of thing, her own basically suite, because she's a fairly high up Cerberus personnel. She's technically under our command, but she is high ranking in Cerberus. So let's have a little chat with her.
Commander, what can I do for you?
Do you have a minute, Miranda?
No doubt you've got a lot of questions. Cerberus isn't as evil as most people believe. If I can help allay any of your concerns, I'd be happy to do so. So, what would you like to know?
Are you military or political? Or both?
Cerberus has several divisions. Political, military, scientific, but we're all working towards the same goal. The teams you encountered before your accident were mostly part of our military division. But not all Cerberus operations use the same protocols. We try not to get bogged down in bureaucracy or formality.
I know what we're doing here, but what's Cerberus's long-term goal?
The advancement of the human race. Nothing more, nothing less. The Solarians have the Special Tasks Group. The Asari have their legendary commandos for stealth and recon operations. Cerberus is humanity's answer to those organizations.
But those organizations are regulated by governments. Who keeps Cerberus in check?
Nobody. We're privately funded and our backers trust the elusive man to make the right decisions. But he's very clear about our goals. Protect humanity and serve its advancement.
What can you tell me about the elusive man?
Not much that you don't already know. Even I don't have access to most of his background. And you've seen more of him than most ever do. It's rare for him to become directly involved in missions, but you're something special. Whatever else people might say about him, I can assure you he's got humanity's best interests at heart. That includes you and me.
How can you be sure of that if you know so little about him?
I didn't get to where I am without knowing how to gauge people's motives and ambitions, even from brief encounters. He's no saint, and he'd be the first to admit it. But he is committed. Humanity couldn't have a better advocate.
What kind of resources does Cerberus have?
We're very well funded, though I doubt anyone other than the elusive man knows exactly how well. But our resources aren't unlimited. Reviving you and rebuilding the Normandy was a significant investment, and a significant risk. We're all hoping you can do the impossible, Shepard. No pressure.
Tell me about yourself, Miranda.
Oh, I guess that's fair. I've spent the last 2 years learning everything there is to know about you. Well, you should probably know that I've had extensive genetic modification. Not my decision, but I make the most of it. It's one of the reasons the elusive man handpicked me. I'm very good at just about anything I choose to do.
You certainly don't lack for confidence.
It's just a fact. My reflexes, my strength, even my looks, they're all designed to give me an edge. No point in hiding from it. It's the reason I'm trusted to oversee the most dangerous, risky, and technically demanding operations Cerberus undertakes. And it's why I was assigned to you. It's my job to make sure you succeed, Shepard.
Thanks for the information, Miranda. I'll talk to you later.
Of course, Commander. Whatever you need.
So Miranda's really interesting because she offers especially partly because of what she's like as a person, but partly because she's higher up the command chain, she offers a very different perspective to Jacob, whereas Jacob's like, similar to Joker in a way, he's kind of like, I don't 100% agree with Cerberus, but they are the only people who are doing what humanity should be doing. Miranda is very kind of pro-Cerberus, but even so, the way she sells it is quite interesting. That she's basically saying they have got humanity's best interest at heart. That doesn't necessarily mean they're racist or nationalist, or is it still nationalist if it's for a species? I suppose speciesist would be the word. But she comes at it from a very different angle, and she gives you probably the most kind of like pro-Cerberus viewpoint that you can kind of talk about with any of your crew members, which is really interesting. Finally, we're down in the engineering bay. So there's a shuttle down there. One of the things, interestingly, that's different about the new Normandy is because it's larger, it can't land on planets as easily as the first one can because it's got a lot more mass, so we need a shuttle to drop us down. We can explore a bit more of the thing. We can go to its Element Zero core, which is this bad boy. So this is the device that allows us to travel faster than light. So this... Basically, the way Element Zero works is if you apply positive charge to it, it causes things to increase in mass, negative charge decrease in mass. The way Element Zero allows you to travel faster than light is it creates a low mass field in front of a ship that the ship kind of falls into, and that way, because you're not technically accelerating actively, you're being accelerated, you can go faster than light. Most of the physics in Mass Effect makes sense if you allow for the existence of Element Zero. Basically, you allow for a thing which does increase or decrease masses, then most of the physics does make sense, I'm told. But down here, maintaining the engineering core, we have the two engineers, Daniels and Donnelly.
You came all the way down here to see us?
You're speaking to our commanding officer.
I'm touring the ship, getting to know my crew.
I'm Engineer Ken Donnelly, handling the power control systems. This is Gabby.
That's Engineer Gabriella Daniels, actually. I'm responsible for the propulsion systems.
What can we do for you, Commander?
Are you set up okay down here?
We can't complain. I just wish it didn't take so long to calibrate the FBA arrays.
Kenneth, you're complaining.
What kind of problems are you having?
When they upgraded the Normandy design, they got a bit sloppy with the FBA couplings. I won't bore you with the tech, but there is an array of attenuators in the primary power transfer system that channels the field bleed.
Kenneth, you're boring the commander with tech. In short, if we had T6 FBA couplings installed, it'd save us a lot of maintenance time each day.
Why isn't something like that already installed?
It's probably just a design oversight. Efficiency isn't affected, it's a maintenance issue.
Also, the T6 model can be hard to find. Nash and Stellar Dynamics discontinued them.
We could probably find used ones in the Omega markets, but we have no time for shore leave.
Where'd you receive your training?
Both Gabby and I started in the Alliance, serving on the SSV Perugia.
She flew in the first wave at the Battle of the Citadel. We saw Sovereign firsthand.
Why did you leave the Perugia?
After you died, Anderson lost political clout. The Council backslid on the Reaper menace.
They discounted Sovereign as an isolated threat, as a single...
Which was bullshit. They said your warnings of a greater danger were mistaken or delusional.
We lost respect for Alliance leadership. We need to fight the real enemy, and only Cerberus seem to be doing that.
What do you think about Cerberus?
Actually, we don't know much about the organization other than the Normandy team. We know our mission and who's in charge.
We're off to kick the Collectors right in their daddy bags. That's enough for me.
Carry on.
Will do, Commander.
So that gives us another assignment. Assignment is basically side quest, optional, kind of an optional story quest. These two, they're interesting. Their viewpoint mirrors a lot of the other Normandy crew, which is basically, we didn't join Cerberus because we're terrorists, we joined Cerberus because A, you, Commander Shepard, and B, because they're the ones who actually seem to be investigating the problems that matter. Which keeps coming up, and it's quite an interesting viewpoint. I cannot place Engineer Daniels' accents. Like, Donnelly's clearly Scottish, but Daniels is like, it's like an American doing an Eastern European accent. It could... Like, I guess it may well just be someone who is of American and Eastern European ancestry, but I certainly can't place it as to a location. But what they're saying, God, it resonates with me on a personal level because of stuff with my job. Like, it's so annoying when you have a system where, technically, from an outside observer, the system is efficient, as in it functions fine, but you know there's a thing that is an inefficiency for you as a human. Therefore, if you upgraded this thing, it would technically mean the system still operates in the same way, exactly the same as far as the external observer is concerned, but it would make your life easier. And God, it's frustrating when those changes aren't made when you require them, when you're just like, yes, this, what we have technically works, and I can get the same results out of it, but you could save me 30 minutes a day if you bought a fancier FBA coupling or whatever it is. It's a problem that bugs me on a personal level, so boy am I going to be doing that side quest as soon as I get a chance. Anyway, the one part of... Well, there's technically one person we haven't spoken to, but I'm going to save that for a little later. The one part of the Normandy we haven't massively explored yet is the galaxy map. So, the galaxy map functions quite different to the original Mass Effect. In the original Mass Effect, you just looked around on the map. On this, you actually control the Normandy. So as you can see, we're flying around. Oh, the Veteran is the other one. I call him the Mercenary, but it's the Veteran. A lot of stuff happening on Omega. Omega is a... Well, we can have a look at it. We're not going to go there, but it's a asteroid turned into a city. And that's where we'll be spending the next few episodes after this. But there's a fuel depot here. So if you look at the bottom left, you can see three things. You have fuel level, our number of credits, and our number of probes. So we're going to top up fully, so let's buy a load of probes. And let's buy a load of fuel. As we move around, you'll notice we don't use fuel. Here's the Omega 4 relay, by the way. It's near Omega. And it's red, unlike other Mass Effects, other mass relays. And we can't do anything. There you go, what Edie said. I think, in order for mass relays to work, I think to some extent you need to know where you're headed and have the right coordinates, and we don't have that for the Omega 4 relay, so going into it would be a little bit interesting. But it's a nasty relay, so it's red. Though apparently that's, in the game it describes that as like warning lights to tell people don't go near this because no ship has ever returned safely from it. If we use any mass relay, it zooms us out to the kind of galaxy level. So all these blue bits are not even necessarily systems, they are clusters. So there's Recruit the Krogan. Those are our options. So we've got 5 people to track down at the moment. Archangel, the Professor, the Veteran, the Krogan, and the Convict. We've also got the Citadel in there, we've got some DLC, the Firewalker DLC, which I'll talk about when it becomes relevant over there, and we've got Omega and the Citadel. And we can't get to that many clusters right now, but we will get to more and more as the game kind of goes on. But for now, we're not taking Mass Relay, we're going to stay within the Omega... Is it called Omega, the nebula we're in? Omega Nebula, yeah. So, what if you want to go to... So we're in the star system at the moment, what if you want to go to another star system within the same nebula? Well, move out of the boundaries of it, and you will zoom out to the nebula level. or cluster, or whatever you want to call it. You can see all the other systems in here. So we are currently in Sarabarik. That's an odd pronunciation. But there's also Batala, Fathar, Amada, Kaira something, and Arin Larkan. So, to get between systems, star systems in a nebula, that's what you need fuel for. So we're going to move towards the Armada system, but as you can see, our fuel then starts draining in the bottom left, and that is what you need fuel for. So you used like a quarter of our fuel to get to the Armada system, so that does limit you somewhat in the early game. You can expand your hand gestures. I keep mentioning this, I gesticulate too much and I fucking smacked my desk again. I'm an idiot. So, we're in a kind of completely uncharted system, and as you can see, most of the planets are unexplored. Let's start with this one that's right the fuck close in next to the star. This is Takan, which is orbiting close to the F-class star Armada. Takan is a blistering, sun-blasted hell. Yeah, because it's right the fuck in there. It's closer than Mercury is by the looks of it. Yeah, well, actually, no, 1.2, that's kind of far out. Neither its carbon dioxide atmosphere nor its weak magnetic field provides any protection from the star's harsh radiation. Fortunately, Takan has a few significant resources, has few, not a few significant resources, and is only noticeable for an unusual purple desert in the southern hemisphere, thought to be the result of eroded spessartite. I'm going to Google what that is, because I'm sure that's something interesting. So, spessartine, sometimes... Oh, well, this is interesting. Wikipedia reckons Mass Effect 2 is wrong. Spessartine, sometimes mistakenly referred to as spessartite, is a nesosilicate manganese aluminium garnet species, so I guess it's just a kind of cool type of crystal, and you can actually see it on this thing, I think. When I mentioned it's not that far from the Sun, that's because, so if you look at where it says orbital distance, 1.2 AU, that's an astronomical unit. I believe an astronomical unit is the distance between the Earth and the Sun, on average. So 1.2 AU means it's actually further away from its star than the Earth is from the Sun, but presumably it's compensates for that, but it's probably a lot hotter of a star than the Sun is. Yeah, especially beginning those surface temperature is 286 Celsius. So, we can look at this planet by using the scanner with Y, and this is what probes are for. We have 30 probes on us at the moment because we just bought a couple. If you hold left trigger, and then you can move the left stick to move the cursor around, and the right stick to move the planet around. Now you'll note the graph on the right, so it says scanner results are moderate, and there's the graph on the right which tracks resources. So as you can see, you kind of want to maneuver this thing so that a resource is at peak. When it is, while still holding LT, you press RT, and you'll launch a probe and you'll get whatever elements are there on the graph. So we've got a tiny bit of palladium and a lot of platinum. Platinum is used for sniper rifles, shotguns, and medical equipment. And you can just kind of look around the planet looking for where the graph spikes, launch a probe, and you'll get some stuff. You'll notice that the scanner results have gone from moderate to poor, and she was saying what palladium is useful for, and I did not listen at all. So poor means we'll probably get one more decent scan out of it, so I'm just going to kind of look around a little bit. Oh, let's get some palladium, why not? And you really don't want to go much beyond when it's deteriorated to the kind of poor point. So let's go to Alchera, which is where we're heading, which is explore the Normandy crash site. Is the mission on it? As you'll notice there, ED set anomaly detected, which means there's a mission of some sort on the planet's surface. Alchera's crust is composed of carbon and water ice. While low density, its large size allows it to retain a thick atmosphere of methane and ammonia. It is believed that if Alchera had acquired a bit more mass when the Armada system formed, it might have formed the core of a second outer system gas giant. Alchera has 3 moons: Uluru, Wandjina, and Baime. Uluru is the Aboriginal name for Ayers Rock in Australia, I believe. Not sure what the other names are. They also sound kind of Australian Aboriginal, so... You notice the scanner results on this are rich, but also there is an anomaly detected, which means it's pointing towards... You see on our, scanner, there is that... Ooh, wow. A lot of things there. A lot of iridium, a lot of platinum. So there's the white arrow on our scanner. If we follow that, we'll get to the anomaly, which is how to actually start the mission. But I'm going to go in the opposite direction for now, because scanner results are still good, so I'm going to try and get some decent resources out of it. There's a healthy amount of platinum there. Obviously, whenever we launch a probe, we expend a probe, so we need to go to a fuel depot at some point to restock them. Fuel depots are only really in, occupied systems, the ones that have at least one. So, as only systems that have like a major populated world or something like that in will have a fuel depot. Any system pretty much that has a mass relay will have a fuel depot in it. Let's grab this, and this might bring it down to moderate. Nope, it's still saying good. Bring it down to moderate is usually a fairly efficient technique. Beyond moderate, it's not really worth going. It's still saying good. Okay. You also notice as well, element 0 is by far, by a huge margin, the rarest element. Like most things will involve platinum, palladium, and iridium. Still saying good. Wow, let's get some even more palladium. Even though we can't even research anything at the moment. Now we're down to moderate, so let's follow that little thing so it's saying up and right. There we go. So, in order to activate anomaly, you still do need a probe. We have 19, that's not a problem. Anomaly detected. Scans confirm the wreckage of SSV Normandy on the planet's surface. No life signs or mechanical activity detected. Stable landing zone located amid the crash site. Having found the anomaly, we can land with A. So here we are at the Normandy crash site, and kind of like I said, this is technically DLC, but it's kind of forced DLC that you are made to get it when you connect to Xbox Live, but it's free, which is kind of nice. And there's a lot of things kind of hanging around. There's these fragile crates, which I can blow up with Incinerate, and underneath it is a dog tag. For those not familiar, I believe this is a military thing. The wear around your neck. There's 2 of them. I think it's like if you're dying, you're supposed to leave one in your body to identify the body, and then you snap one off to return to your family or whatever. But here they are. So there's 20 together in total, and that was Wabiri Aminas. I believe none of the people who mentioned on the dog tags were actually in Mass Effect 1, because no named characters died in the destruction of the Normandy, except for except for Navigator Presley. He was pretty much the only named character who died on it. If we press B here. Then we place the Normandy Monument, which looks kind of cool. And now we've kind of got 2 more missions as such on this world. One is to gather all 20 dog tags, and I must admit I've never done this. There's always one that eludes me. So I may get 19 and then return here later, having analysed the footage to see which one I've missed. These crates usually have something in them, so you need to blast them either with a power or with a weapon to get at them. Dog tag underneath it. There. And there's another one which is to recover a very specific artifact which is relevant to Shepard herself. I can't get off this. There we go. That looked really weird because you kind of slid down it. Let's grab that dog tag. They kind of glimmer from a distance, so they're generally easy to see. And I wonder if it's always the same one that I miss on it, because it always seems to be. Various parts around here will trigger a flashback to Normandy stuff. So generally, I'm just going to explore now, and I will... I was going to say we'll cut it back to when there's a flashback, and there was one there. So this is the CIC of the original Combat Information Center on the original Normandy. It's had a bit of a rough time. And here's a datapad. So if you look in the left there, it says, Journal, Navigator Presley. Entry 1. Spoke to the commander about this. I corrupt. All those damn aliens aboard this Alliance's most advanced ship. I don't trust them. Even recoverable data. That damned Asari. An Aquarian! What does Shepard think this is? A zoo? with the Quarian. It seems she's on some kind of pilgrimage, trying to improve the lot of her home ship. I can understand that. I would babysit my children or anything, but if she has to be on board, I suppose it's not too bad. For a while now, and I'm taking back a look back at past entries in this journal. How blind I was at the time. I came on this ship firmly believing humanity was on its own in the galaxy. Shepard brought all these aliens on board, and there's no way we could have accomplished what we did without them. I am proud to die for any member of this crew, regardless of what world they were born on. I can't remember whether I spoke to Presley much during the original Mass Effect series or not, but he does mirror those views. Initially, he's like, there are a lot of non-humans on board, and he's not too pleased with that fact. But as the game goes on, he very much sees them for what they are and what they're worth as crew members rather than just seeing species, which is really cool, and it's nice to kind of see that reflected here, especially because Presley was the only member of the Normandy's crew to die. The only named member. The Mako. The fight is shown in a flashback is wonderful, because that means the Mako is not in this game with all its fucking shitbag steering. So that's great. I can see a dog tag glimmering over there. That Presley's journal, by the way, was not one of the things we actually have to do on there. It's just a kind of optional extra. This looks like important Normandy gubs up here. There's a dog tag by all these life pods. Grab that. This is a relatively small area based on the fact that you can kind of explore on foot, so that's why it always annoys me that I can never find the final one. I must be missing something, so I've got a list of where each one is located. So like this one here is, it'll tell me in a second, Emerson Hector, so I can work out from whichever name I haven't got where it's going to be. That'll probably be at the beginning of next episode. This has been a longer episode. As ever, they're always longer episodes. Bloody Mass Effect. RPG series generally just tend to be big. So why do I keep doing RPGs? I ask myself this all the time. Let's go from fucking Paper Mario, my longest series ever, to Mass Effect 2, which might even beat Paper Mario for being my longest series ever. I do this to myself, out of choice. Because it's fun, apparently. No, I do love doing these kinds of games. And this one is big, but it is not very, it's not super RPG-ish, as you've kind of noticed from the way that powers are done in this and the way that weapons and armor and all of that's done. The RPG style elements of it. Oh, so this is the lower decks of the Normandy, which will always show a flashback to whoever died on Vermeer. For us, that was Caden Alenko. But yeah, they have dialed down the RPG elements in this because I think they realised the kind of people who were playing this weren't so in. It's a weird one because the initial Mass Effect wasn't so big on the shooter and was more on the RPG. This one is less on the RPG, more on the shooter, but it's not a shooter really by any degree of it. Like, this ain't going to compete with Halo or COD or anything like that. So it's kind of interesting the balance they've chosen to strike there. And I think it works really well. Genuinely, Mass Effect 2 is... That's the Normandy in the dock at the Citadel. I think Mass Effect 2 is one of, if not the best game on the Xbox 360. It's up there with Halo 3 for me. I love it, and I think it's an amazingly ambitious and brilliantly executed game. Oh, there's a dog tag over there. I've wanted to play Mass Effect 2 on the channel since I basically started the channel. One of the big reasons, this sounds really weird, but one of the big reasons I did Mass Effect 1 is because you can't play Mass Effect 2 without having played Mass Effect 1. I mean, you can, but you can see how much effort I kind of put into the narrative. It's not right to launch straight into Mass Effect 2 without having done Mass Effect 1 first. But I definitely do prefer Mass Effect 2 for a lot of reasons to Mass Effect 1, so I kind of had to... It sounds really rough to say I had to sit through Mass Effect 1 in order to properly play Mass Effect 2, but definitely of the two, Mass Effect 2 is my favourite one. And I will, as we go on, go more and more into the reasons why that is so. As you can see here, if you just kind of largely explore, you will eventually find apparently 19 of the dog tags. If we grab this one that's here. This is the cockpit, complete with one Jeffrey Moreau, or Joker, as he's more commonly known. And we've got 4 more dog tags to go. So up here is one of our actual objectives here. N7 helmet. It's Shepard's initial helmet from when she got killed 2 years ago, or 3 episodes ago, depending on how you view it. 4 episodes ago, actually. So that's our other kind of objective here. Another crate here, which I suspect, as ever, will have another dog tag in it. I think we've all had all the flashbacks now, so we just need to find another 3 dog tags. Another one down here, bringing us up to 18. And that brings us to 19. And 19 is pretty much the limit I've ever got on this. So, I will probably head off. I'll explore for another 5 minutes or so, and if I don't find anything, I'll head off and check and redo this at a later date. Because certainly my searching so far has been relatively extensive. Well, no luck in finding the remaining one, but I'll check what it is and return to it. For now, let's return to the Normandy. So we get a little bit of experience, bit of money, some element 0, quite a lot of element 0 actually, to say it's a very rare element in scanning planets. And so this is as good a point of any to end the episode. Well, we'll just fly back to the Omega system, because that's what we'll be starting next episode. As we came here to fly back to the system we were in, which is Barbaric, we leave there, and we leave the Armada system, and then we head over. So as you can see, it's taking about half our fuel to fly kind of like there and back, so you do have to be careful while doing interstellar stuff at this stage in the game. So we can now probe up and fuel up. Let's buy a load of probes. Oh shit, I exited the galaxy map by accident. Y is buy probes, but A is apparently buy fuel. There we go. Oh, you hold it. That's cool. So, next episode. This episode, well, we've spoken to some people on the Normandy, and we've looked at the wreckage of the old Normandy. Next episode, we're going to go to Omega, and we're going to first attempt to recruit the Professor. Professor Morden Sulis is going to be our goal initially in Omega. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time. Thank you very much, and good day.